Hello, everybody. This is Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and this is another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 18, my playthrough with the Phillies. I think we're episode 16 now, but I just finished the draft, and I'm up to the draft pick negotiations, and I'll probably go through that real quick, and then go over where we're at for the season, which isn't too good. We've had some injuries struck again, and um, bullpen just not pitching too well at all. And probably going to have to make some changes as the season goes on, especially as we get close to the trading deadline. Got to look at some options in that bullpen um, and starting rotation. I'll get to that too. But it was a pretty weak draft for me, as I figured it would be, because I lost a first round pick when I signed Devers. So the first guy I went with was a starting pitcher who has some good potential, both from my scout and I think from OSA. They don't like his movement rating as much, but my scout has him getting as much as 19 on stuff, 12 movement, 13 control, and he's going to start out probably in the bullpen, or he may start out as a starter, but hopefully he'll become a starter if he develops another pitch like that changeup. And he's only 21. He's listed as durable, so that was about the best choice I had. And I'm just going to meet his bonus demand. I'm not going to go with the recommended. And picked up another second baseman in that third round. I know I'm heavy on those, but who knows? By the time he develops, he's 21. Say 4 or 5 years down the line, if he develops like his potential here shows, he might turn out to be a pretty decent player. So I'm going to meet his demand as well. And then another second baseman, but I think he's playing, yeah, he can play third or second. Just going to meet his demand. And then lastly, another starting pitcher, Jeff Endicott. I got to be honest, he didn't look that great from my scout, but OSA thinks really highly of him. I mean, you could see they've got him maxed out almost on the stuff rating and movement control, everything. He's potential 3 solid pitches there. So I kind of took a gamble on him based on their rating, their potential ratings for him. And that's it. I mean, pretty slim pickings. Where we're looking at for the season so far, we started out slow. If you watched that last episode, we were struggling the first few weeks, and then we finished at 500 in April. We were 12-12, and since then we've just taken a big slump. Right now we're in a 5-game losing streak. We've lost 8 of our last 10, and we're 10 games under 500. Nobody's really performing exceptionally well. The only 2 guys on the leaderboard here, Lewis is in stolen bases, and Lockfeld has 7 wins, which is good for him. He's starting to at least get some wins. He's on pace for 20, but his numbers, they're not that great. His control is still struggling. He's over 4 on the ERA. So it's going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be a long season. And the reason it got even longer is just like last year, just like almost every year in this playthrough, injuries started happening, and they've pretty much popped whatever bubble I had in terms of hopes for this season. I've lost Farr again, and that was the gamble with him. I knew that he's going to be down for three more months now, but I think overall he was down for 4 months after that great start. He was just really on a great pace. I won't get him back until late September or somewhere along in there. So we're June 6th, and he's another 3 months. It's going to be a while. I lost Rhea. He's down for another 8 weeks. Ketchum already lost. And then Royce Lewis, once again, I think he was out for 5 weeks overall. And he was off to just a great start, playing typically the way I expected him to play. And his average was up to 324. He had some power showing up this year. He was on pace for a lot of stolen bases. Everything was looking good about him. But now he's going to be gone for another 3 weeks. And then Juan Elman was probably the biggest injury. He's out for the year, it looks like. and he was off to a good start as well. He had 10 home runs, 37 RBIs. At the time he went down, I think he was projected to be 30 something plus home runs, and he was just having a really good, solid start to the season, and now he's gone. And I haven't been able to really find anyone either in the waiver wire or tried a few things in trade. I haven't found anybody to really pick up the slack on those losses. This guy just became available, but he's first baseman. I don't really need that right now. One of the things that I think is causing the struggle so much is, as I was playing out the games, I knew we were struggling in extra inning games, and it looked like our bullpen was blowing a lot of leads for us. And then I looked at the numbers, and it stunned the hell out of me. We were like in extra inning games 0-7. One-run games were 3-16. That's terrible. And the reason I think that that's happening primarily is because of Miguel Castro. He is 0-7, which matches that extra inning record. He has 8 saves, but I think he's blown a couple. His ERA is over 5. He's not performing at all. And I went through and tried to trade him. And I've mentioned, I think before, the ground rule I have on trading is I don't do any real big trades. I just go out and see what the AI will offer me. And I don't know if it's necessarily easy to game the AI, but I just kind of handicap myself from doing that because first off, I'd rather build the team through the farm system, or I like to be conservative, and I like the challenge of having to build a team that way. But you can see when I went out and tried to shop him around, nobody's coming up. I'm getting a lot of older guys with pretty big salaries, like Cody Bellinger, who's got 3 years left, $20 million a year. Nothing at all like that would help me or that I would need. Adam Hazley from the Angels was sort of an okay pick, but he's wrecked in his injury proneness. I don't want to gamble on that. But with Ailman down, I do realize that I could use some help in the outfield. And then I think this guy Albies came back. I think that's how you say that. I'm not sure, but I don't like the fact that he's wrecked as well. And I think he had a couple years left, and I don't know if I want to tie up even $10.6 million next year. I don't want to tie that up with a guy who may not be a starter and he may not be able to play full time. He has I think he's currently in with the Braves now. I think he's on their active roster, but he's had a good career. He's a good player, but I think he's getting towards the end of his career a little bit, and I just don't want to risk it. So my plan is, because I know going back to last year, the same thing happened with Castro last year. He started off really slow, and then he kind of got hot. And you see he picked up 35 saves last year. So down the stretch, he was pretty good. I'm going to go with him a little bit further. If he doesn't work out, though, I'm going to go with Coriolan, who has been phenomenal. He was a fifth starter for me last year, and he still wants to be the starter. So I think, I don't know if his morale is going to take a hit using him in the bullpen. But my scout thinks that he has the stuff to be a closer, and I think he's pitching really good. You can see a 1.74 ERA, so I wouldn't rule out moving him over to that closer role if Castro can't keep up. In terms of overall how I'm doing, batting, we're struggling. There's no question. We still don't have a lot of home runs, but we've picked up the pace from where we were last year. I just don't know, with Ailman out and now Lewis out for a while, I don't know if we'll keep up that. On-base percentage is really low, so we must be striking out a lot. And Pitching wise, we're looking really good in some numbers. We're like first in hits allowed, opponents average, and the BIP, and first in defensive efficiency. So I like that. We got a good defense. Overall, our pitching is doing pretty good relative to the National League, but we've just got to somehow stop losing those extra inning games and one-run games. We've got to close it out. And I'm going to play a few more weeks here probably in this playthrough and see how far we get along, and then I'll sim ahead. But my goal is to, we're June 6th, by July, I want to see some movement. I want to see us getting close to 500 before we get to that All-Star break, or I'm going to have to make some major moves. And one other thing that I am doing right now is right before I got to the draft, I think, Juan Ochoa, I'm going to stick with him. He's just 28. Those power numbers are really good. I know his defense is a little bit of a struggle, but he's on pace right now, and this is his 5th full season. He's going to get close to 200 home runs maybe before this season's done. I think he's definitely still a good offensive player, and I don't necessarily want to lose him. And I was even thinking about signing him long term, but once again, like he did last year, he did not want anything but a 1-year contract extension. That's kind of odd. I don't see that a whole lot in this game. Every time I would come back with a big contract offer, he would reject it and go back to the 1-year offer. So I'm not sure what that's about, but he's also a fan favorite, so I don't want to lose the hit on fan interest on that. So let's go ahead and play a few games out. We just finished the draft, so now we're going to looks like we're playing, is that the Mets? Yep, it's the Mets. Sorry about that. So we're going to go through that series at home with the Mets, at home against Washington, see if we can pick it up. And 10-13. So it looks like a couple of these guys, a couple of my draft picks agreed to sign with me. So offensively, we had a few guys, 2 for 4 from Smith, who struggled this start of the season. Tyler Freeman struggled as well, and I've kind of put him in as the starting shortstop with Lewis out, but I don't know if I'm going to keep that up because he's struggling so much. Gowdy, wow, 4 innings, 9 earned runs. And Corey Line, who I just talked up, had a terrible game. You never know with this game. That's the thing until you click play, right, and click next. That's a good win, 5-1. Vargas is down again though. Ugh. Barge, Mast. Let's see if I had. Looks like I had a home run from Devers and Ochoa, his 12th. Ochoa's now. He's getting back at his pace. He's on pace for 30. He missed a few weeks there, a couple weeks. So I expect he's going to start now with Elman out the rest of the year. So he's going to have a little bit more at-bats than the projection there. And Moya had a good game. That's good. But he's injured. Gosh, the injuries in this game. I hate to go anything but default, but I may just have to start turning down the injuries. I mean, it's a little bit too much. So we squeak out another one against Washington. We just started that series. So Ochoa did sign the contract extension, and overall fan interest increases. And now Moya is out for 4 to 5 months, which is not a terrible loss because I really wasn't depending on him all that much. But it's just another instance where I've got to scramble to get somebody to take his place. I'm not seeing much on the waiver wire there either. So now what I would probably like to do is I'm going to bring up Castro, who is looking really good. He's the closer right now in AAA. And then I think I'm just going to have to go with Coriolan back in that starting rotation. So that's going to kind of get rid of my plans on letting letting Coriolan be the closer if Castro can't get better and get in the groove. And then for Vargas, I'm starting to worry that he's going to be injury prone if this keeps up. And I hate to gamble with it, but I just don't have anybody to take up the slack on him. So looking at that game, Barge had a good game. Mast, pretty good game. Suzarek still having a good year. Pitching though, can't tell me. 4 2/3 innings, 6 earned runs, but Castro did pick up his 9th save, so that's good. And we lost the second game 1-3. Nothing going on the offense there. A pretty decent game from Lockfeld, although the walks were high. That's his 4th loss of the year. So now let's see if we can win the series. Eli Poe down for 3 to 4 weeks. I think he's starting to struggle with injuries himself. But one of the things that I've noticed, Vandenhoeven, who I'm betting on being my future first baseman, he's not too bad. I like the fact that his eye and discipline ratings are high and it's showing in his walks. I'd really like to have somebody who has a good on-base percentage. I think that would help us out a lot. And it looks like all the draft signings, all the draft picks have signed, so that's good. Jordan Groshans, not familiar with him, but he's Player of the Week in the American League. Jadon Lanier, I think he's won that award a couple times. He's a 5-star player. He's looks like he's developing into a star in the league. Looks like he's won. No, this is his first time Player of the Week. I thought that I'd seen his name before on that. And then All-Star voting, Barge is starting to show up there in the votes. That's good. Royce Lewis is showing up. If he's coming back in a couple weeks, so he might still have a good chance of making the All-Star team the way he's playing. But that's it. Those are the only guys I got on there. Kevin Dowdell is having another good year, on pace for 50+ home runs. And Edwin Diaz, he's a top reliever. He's on pretty good pace. I'm kind of on a milestone watch for him because he's getting close to 500 saves in the next year or two. And then for the weekly power rankings, we're down to 26th, so we didn't gain any ground. We stayed 10 games under 500, so we didn't really gain anything that week. So let's go ahead and finish the series with Washington. We lose again. And bad news from Kevin Gowdy. The Phillies are in the tank. I hate to say so, but it's true. I want out of here. Please do what you can to trade me. That's probably not going to happen. And I don't see that happening at all because of his contract. He's signed another this year and next with the player option after next. So at the very least, maybe he'll try to get out of that option, and then 19 additionally 2 years after that for $19 million. And I would love to get rid of this guy. I really would. But doing the shop around, I know what I'm going to get if I get anything, and I don't get anything. So I think I'm just going to have to stick with him and let him fume. So for the game, we lost 4-7. Devers had a pretty good game. Mass 2 for 4. Shrimshire 5 runs and 6 1/3. Not good from him. And the bullpen, they were solid for a couple guys, but not really. I mean, the bullpen gave up 2 runs in less than 3 innings. When the wheels come off, they all come off at once. That's the way it works. Now we're opening up 3 games with Miami on the road. And we win the first game. That's good, 7-4. Looks like Vargas is still playing through the pain. And Freeman had a good game, 3 for 4, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. And Gowdy got the win, but he gave up 4 runs in 6 2/3. Castro picked up his 10th save, so hopefully he is turning it around. And in the second game, 2-0. Good deal. Devers 2 for 4. He looked like the offensive hero of that game, but Coriolan back in the starting lineup, and it looks like he likes it, or back in the starting rotation. 8 innings, no runs. Good game from him. The one thing that I discussed this in the preseason or in spring training, the thing about him is his numbers are good except for that fact that he only has 2 solid pitchers. And for starting rotation, I really like to have guys with 3 or more. And I think it's a gamble to go with less. But it's good to see him winning. So let's see if we can sweep at Miami. And we do. Finally. It's bad injury news there, but we finally win one in extra innings. 7-6 in 15 innings. Vargas, once again, playing through the pain. He was 3 for 8. And he's day-to-day for another 6 days, but he's batting 368 this week. So maybe getting injured spurred him a little bit. Bard's a good game, 4 for 8. No home runs, it looks like, but offensively pretty good. Cantelme, 4 runs in 5 innings, but for once the bullpen, for the most part, held on. Kane picked up the win, and that's the kind of pitcher I know that he is. 2 1/3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, but 5 strikeouts. He can get on a roll and be just really dominating. But now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with Maylock. And it looks like Cochran there. Was he injured for a while? Minimal for 4 weeks. He's a big part of the Yankees lineup. I'm going to check the waiver wire. Nothing really too impressive there, but I need to call up somebody I know to replace Maylock, who's going to be down for 6 weeks. And he was really doing a good job for me. And he, if I remember right, in the spring training, he actually pitched, I think, 11 or 13 innings in relief and gave up no runs. He had a really good spring, too, and then he got injured. So now I kind of guess I'm okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up I don't think Austin's ready yet. I want to give him a little bit more time at AA, but I'm going to bring up Cornell. And then I hate to do this because Norm Lee has he's been up and down every time I've tried to use him. But I'm going to put him in place of Maylock and just hope that he helps out a little bit. And I'm going with Kane as a setup there, 7th inning or later. So that's how we're looking now going into Atlanta. So I'll play this Atlanta series. Let's see how we're at home against Atlanta. And Atlanta, they picked it up too. They're getting close to the Marlins. Looking at the news, nothing major there. So let's see what we can do against Atlanta. And we start out with a win, 5-2. So I think that's 4 in a row now. Vargas still playing through that pain. He's 2 for 4, scored a couple runs. Mast had a good game. And then Lockfeld pitched a good game, his 8th win of the year. He's on pace now for 19 wins. Castro is 11th save, so that's good. Yeah, we've won 4 in a row. So let's see what we can do the rest of this series. And this is against Kuznetsov, and we lost. Mast had another good game, 3 for 4, but Kuznetsov is one of our former players, and He signed now with Atlanta for another couple years with a big deal, but he was uh, very injury prone when he was with me, and now he's listed as okay. I'm surprised that they would take on that contract for him. But another message here from Ramos. He's wanting to sign. No, he's wanting traded. Oh gosh, it's going to be a mutiny before the year's over. But if we turn it around, if we can win, those kind of things will go away. So let's see how we finish this last game, and we win 7-4. So we won the series after sweeping Atlanta. So sweeping Miami. So we're in a row. Barge had a good game. Ochoa, who struggled a little bit after I signed him, his average is slipping, but rest of the team wasn't too bad. Gowdy picked up a win. He gave me 7 innings, and Castro that 12th save. So after complaining about him, he's now had 4 saves and hasn't given up an earned run in the last 2 weeks. So that's good, but he's angry as well. It looks like the whole team's angry right now because we're not winning. Looking at the top performers, Juan Monreal for the Tigers won in the American League. Salinas, he won in the National League. Are we picking up any All-Star votes? Sean Barge is still hanging in there at second. Royce Lewis is now up to second place, and he's coming off in a week from the DL. So we've got some things to look forward to. Power rankings were still pretty low at 24th, but I didn't mean to hit that one. But standings wise, we are 31 and 38, so we've improved 3 games from being 10 games under 500. It's not over yet. There's a lot more left to play, and I think with a few tweaks, I might be able to get back competitive. I think it's going to be tough to catch the Marlins if I don't soon start winning, but we're in last place and we're only 7 games out. So that's not too bad. It looks like Cincinnati started to play well again too, and San Francisco after their terrible starts. Looking at the rest of the league, Oakland's cooled off a little bit, but they're still up on Houston, who's started playing a lot better. The White Sox are having a great year, and the Yankees are now turning it on. They are they have the best record in both leagues, and they're really turning it on. I think their lineup is just so deep, and they've got so many good players. Looking at the leaderboard, Kyle Tucker is one of those players. I mean, he's been a 2-time MVP, and he's having a good year for them. And then Mike Elwell still leading the league in home runs. He's not on pace for 76 anymore, but he's on pace for 59. That's good. Selway, another guy I noticed in this playthrough, he comes up a lot. I think he's won 3 Cy Youngs. Chris James still having a great year. He's on pace for 23 wins now, 299 strikeouts. He may be an early favorite for the Cy Young. And then in the National League, Dowdell still playing good. He's not playing as good as he was earlier in the year, but surprisingly, Mike Lockfeld is tied for the league in wins. So that'd be nice to have somebody on the leaderboard. And hey, his morale's great, so he's pretty happy. Looking at the, I'm just gonna look at the morale here to see how it is. Yeah, a lot of angry guys. So I'm probably gonna have to work up some trades and see if I can't improve the morale and get us playing right back where we should be. And that'll be the focus as I get off here and sim some more. I'll probably sim to the All-Star break or so. I might go a little bit further because I'm kind of wanting to end this series, or at least end the season early enough that I'm focused on 19 when it comes out next week. But I think this will probably be the end of the Phillies playthrough. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm still mulling over what I'm going to do with 19. But hopefully you'll join me when I start that series, and I appreciate the subscribers and appreciate the people watching, some of you guys leaving comments and things. And I hope to see you next episode. Thanks.